Cover 3 Tailgate. And welcome back to the Cover 3 podcast here on CBS Sports. That's Tom Fornelli. That's Bud Elliott. That's Danny Kanell. I'm Chip Patterson coming to you live at youtube.com/cover3 and everywhere you get your podcasts on demand. Thanks for hanging out. Smash that subscribe, smash that like, and come and join us in the chat, a.k.a. the Cover 3 Tailgate, where Thomas pulled up in the parking lot, cracked a cold one, and said, "Happy opening day to all who celebrate." Couple of baseball questions for you, Tom. How did you become a Giants fan? And have you placed your World Series future on the White Sox yet? Before you get to that, Tom, also shout out Will. He's feeling the vibes as well. Any Cover 3 guys, big MLB fans? Who's going to win it all? We've got opening day, Sweet 16 games, and a mailbag episode. What a great Thursday. Will, I agree with you. Tom, I'll let you go first. First crack on this. I know we've got some other MLB fans here amongst us. So what do we think, Tom?
I grew up a White Sox fan, but in the era of MLB TV, when I was in like college and just out of college, I had an MLB TV account, and like late night, I would start watching games. And I watched a lot of Giants games because at the time Barry Bonds was going through the whole home run chase. So I was following that every single night. And I just kind of adopted the Giants as like my second team, my National League team, my late night team. And then before last season, I decided I was done with the White Sox because I'm just grew tired of their ownership and what they were doing. And I just became a Giants fan full time. And it was the most enjoyable baseball season I've had in years. But yeah, no, I have not bet on the White Sox this year. I don't suggest anybody bets on the White Sox unless you're taking the under on their win total or on the amount of money they're going to spend or their interest in even trying to win.
I mean, this question, debate, right? Like, you got 4 40-year-old white dudes on a podcast. Like you don't think we're in opening day? Like, I was watching that Chipper Jones clip of him talking about like the new curse words that Bobby Cox was inventing when Bonds in that series against the Braves went like 4 for 4 with 4 bombs and 8 walks. We can pitch to like, no, we can't. Remember, he was it back-to-back walk-offs like 3 nights in a row? It was, yeah, it was something that just, he's like, he'd get 1 strike a night and he would hit it into the water. Yeah, I'm super pumped. I'm a little annoyed. Like, shouldn't we have a noon game?
Yes.
And should it be in Cincinnati?
Yeah, the Giants are in Cincinnati, but they're not playing until 4 Eastern.
What the hell is that? Give me a noon game. Like, we only have tournament games until tonight, right?
Yeah.
Correct. So this is kind of a missed opportunity. Like, how many dudes in their office would throw on a game? Like, I would. I'd probably be like doing like this, like we do during Saturday night pods.
Yeah, I'm legit shocked. Like the Yankees game isn't at like noon,
but it's at 3, right?
Yeah, it's at 3 Eastern.
Yeah.
Like
I'm
Toronto
surprised.
Dome. You could play that at noon.
But I'm surprised you listen much to the Atlanta Braves' most overrated player of all time, Chipper Jones. I just can't believe that.
Are we picking a fight with Chip? There we go.
Oh, no, we fight with me.
Yeah.
No, I kid. He's incredible player. Baseball was my favorite sport to play. Still, like, probably to this day, I would say if you asked me what sport I love playing the most, it was baseball. Fit my personality, loved it. My year playing minor league baseball was probably the most fun that I've ever had. It's hard for me to watch the game. Like, I am a casual when it comes to baseball. Now, I'll watch opening day because it's opening day, but 162, it's hard for me to pay attention. I love playoff baseball. I think maybe we're spoiled from the atmospheres and the crowds, but some of the crowds, you get to playoff baseball, they would rival a lot of college football stadiums. But I'm a Yankees fan growing up where they used to come to spring training, used to go down there and watch them play at Lockhart Stadium in Fort Lauderdale. But as far as like the baseball grind, it's just too, and plus we have to talk about so many sports and pay attention to so many things. I'll like check in very, very casual though for me for baseball.
I've learned to love it as an adult. It's like North Carolina doesn't have a team. I have always loved going to the Durham Bulls games. I didn't want to jump on the Braves or, jump on the Orioles like a lot of North Carolinians do. but then, day baseball probably got me hooked. Right. I mean, working in this job when you're just sitting in the office and all summer long, when you're working on your off-season projects and you just throw a day baseball game on, that's kind of gotten me in. So that's been my avenue. So we're all in on Bobby Witt home run plus 575 here on opening day. Let's go. Let's take it live. All right. Lots to get to today. I gave at the end of yesterday's episode the mailbag question that is in the headline right here. We're going to have a little bit of fun talking about how you would spend $10 million to sabotage your biggest rival. Now, got some great suggestions in the tailgate. We all will have our suggestions as well. We're also going to be looking at if you were to create a Frankenstein recruiting monster, what elements of different schools would you use to be able to create just the absolute best possible super university? And a lot of other questions from the big old bag of mail as well from the tailgates. But I was glad somebody in the tailgate mentioned it because I knew I wanted to do it as well. Jerry jumped in at 8:20 a.m. wishing Gary Danielson the best in retirement. CBS replacing one great with another. Charles Davis is the perfect replacement. Yes, the news came out yesterday. Gary Danielson will be a part of CBS's booth for the 2025 season. Then in 2026, he steps aside, and Charles Davis, who has been part of the NFL package, moves into that Big Ten on CBS, that CBS lead college football, that booth, along with Brad Nessler, along with our friend Jenny Dell. Gary Danielson, if you have been a subscriber to this podcast feed, Gary Danielson used to be a regular contributor here. And like him putting up with me was heroic. And honestly, worth being in the Hall of Fame for what he did years and years and years ago. Every single Tuesday, he'd pick up the phone with me and we'd talk about the SEC on CBS game of the week of that week. And it would be a lot of me pitching a question, and I'd hear a lot of, I don't know, before he goes on to like tell me everything that I was wrong about and, misled about, and so I have always appreciated, my relationship, but just, wanted to spend some time appreciating Gary Danielson, what he's meant here at CBS and for college football in general.
So you're telling me he didn't think it was hilarious? Like if you said, "Hey Gary, wouldn't it be hilarious if did not come back with that?" He's an absolute voice of the game. I go back, when you played as a player and Gary Danielson was on the broadcast, you're like, oh, this is a big game, what he's meant, and then really became, sort of a face of the SEC almost when CBS had the SEC package for so long. Him and Vern working together, and he and Brad do a great job too. But he's going to be missed as one of the voices of the game. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Like you said, takes time for everybody. And I do think Charles is like the perfect replacement for him to step in. So it'd be a really seamless transition for Charles to get in there. Again, another one of the nicest, smartest guys you'll ever meet in the business. So proud to call those guys colleagues that we can work alongside under the same umbrella, and excited to watch them both. Gary finish out and Charles starting up in a year.
Yeah, I do. Go ahead, Tom.
I was just gonna say, echo a lot of what you both have said. I'm hurt that I wasn't even asked or considered to replace him. That's all.
So I do radio on Miller Moulton, Southwest Florida show every Wednesday during the season, and Gary has the spot right before me, and like Gary's sharp, man. And I don't always agree with what he says, but I know he does put the work in, and I think that's kind of the same thing for Charles, which is really kind of what you want. Like you want the broadcaster to be additive, I think, to the experience, like noticing things maybe you didn't notice, probably not have like a crazy annoying voice. So like those are check and check, right there, and also be entertaining. So I think that's pretty solid for us. That's when I saw, I was like, yeah, there we go. Nice pick.
It's not hard. When you watch enough games, it is not difficult to figure out who puts in work and who doesn't. Who just got
yes.
up and
God,
said,
yes.
The
and who used to be like, or like who there's some guys like used to and then like got stretched too thin. I think Mayock has talked about this. The guy that used to be on NFL Network. Like when he first came out, he was super like had time to actually like get in depth, and then like when he started doing a million TV things, it's like when do you have time?
Gary also very obviously someone who was a trusted sounding board from some of the coaches, because he was always his personnel evaluation. Some of that's tape, but some of that's like, oh, we talked to the coaches and they said this guy is going to be doing this thing and keep you like that's those sorts of details right there. It's the relationships, right? Because I have not been in the production meetings. Danny, you have been in the production meetings. So you need to be able to have a good back and forth with the head coach for them to be able to give you things that are going to be helpful. And it can be incredibly important, not just your prep of the tape, but being able to ask the right questions and being able to prepare that way. Gary Danielson was fantastic for sure.
And being able to weed out the coaches that are just going to say only good things about their players, or, like trying to decipher what information is actual truth versus them protecting a player, selling a player, whatever it might be.
Yep.
The chat does not think that Gary put a lot of legwork in for that Notre Dame Oregon State Sun Bowl. So honestly, like if I was a broadcaster of that long career and that was the knock, I'll take
Who
it.
the hell was even playing for Notre Dame in that game?
Oh, Steve Angeli.
It was Angeli. Yeah.
I mean, he sucks. He's terrible.
I was going back and looking at Notre Dame coaching staff talking about the quarterback the competition. And it was like, well, he's got a lot of experience, obviously the bowl game. And I was like, wow, pulling 2 years ago Sun Bowl experience for 2025 spring practice. Okay. Anything to do it. So yeah, we'll have all season to celebrate Gary, and we will, maybe even reach out to him, see if he wants to jump back on the show. TBD on that one. I don't know. I might have scared him off.
Can we pull up Brian's comment? Because that is a pretty good one.
Which one?
About Jim Nantz. Like he could have done he's going one more year for a swan song, but Jim Nantz he's going an 11-year retirement run, eyeing the 2036 Masters as his final scheduled call.
Listen.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you guys right now. I'm going to give you 2046. We'll go another solid 20. And then I'll be retirement age here on Cover 3.
But Jim didn't announce it. He was asked about it, and he just gave his answer. It's like, my plan is to go to the 100th Masters. And everybody, it's like, yeah, it's.
I mean, listen, I appreciate someone who sets goals,
Yeah.
And that's if you can make it to the 100th Masters, not you, but like any of us.
Yes.
My plan is to get to the
100th
college football
Masters.
playoff.
Yeah. So we are
100 teams.
Yeah. How many? Oh, this is a good one. Hey, just off the top.
I need 5 more, Danny.
Do y'all think we will see, and this doesn't really pertain to college football, but it might start to have trickle down effect? You think we're going to start to see more schools leave Division I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like, I don't think we're going to see it at the FBS level of football. Like maybe we'll see 1 or 2
drop to FCS.
Maybe, yeah, like within the next few years. But I think just like what St. Francis is doing it now, they're going down to D3. I think when you look at college basketball, there are 364 teams currently in the first division. I don't think that's going to be the case much longer.
I don't want to say much here because it's not like it's a friend of mine in the industry who's working on a story, and I'm not going to blow his story up. But yeah, I do. I think that St. Francis will not be the last.
Should people subscribe to Extra Points?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
No,
yes.
I think it's a very real concern.
Yeah.
I think it's a very real concern. I mean, this is something I don't think is a shock to anybody, but I do think it's something that is very concerning. We talked to Davidson. Steph Curry was giving a bunch of money back to them, and he took that general manager role with the school. So we had their athletic director on the radio show, and we were asking him about, are you opting in to the rev share? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, our conference as a whole is committed to trying to living up to that commitment and opting into it. I don't know if that's the case for everybody. He kind of alluded to that. He goes, there are going to be some collateral damage here with the new landscape of college athletics.
Yeah, the A10, which Davidson again has moved up. We talked about you say lack of Cinderella, but Houston was in the American Athletic Conference not that long ago. BYU was in the West Coast Conference not that long ago. This thing is conference consolidation as much as anything else. Arizona wasn't a Big 12 team. We're like, oh my gosh, there's only 4 conferences represented in the Sweet 16. Well, this is sort of what's happening. Davidson moves up from the Southern Conference into the Atlantic 10. Atlantic 10 is trying to be one of those conferences that says, hey, we are all in on rev share. That's where VCU is. VCU is trying to make that thing happen. But yeah, I think the spending is going to drive some shifting in the opposite direction. After both the FBS level has grown and grown and grown over the last decade, Division I has grown and grown and grown over the last decade. So, just a little something to keep your eye on here moving forward. If we do make it to the 30th college football playoff, I wonder how many teams will be in said college football playoff division by the time we get there. Coming up on the other side, we teased it yesterday. We're excited to hear from you and us. If you were given $10 million, what is the best way to sabotage your biggest rival? All that and more next.
The clock never stops. Relive the greatest moments with uninterrupted highlights and more.
It's Gareth Bale! No! Wonderful goal!
On the UEFA Champions League channel. Streaming free.
Back here on the Cover 3 podcast. We love our Thursday shows at this time of year because it is, among other things, a great chance to be able to keep the conversation going, a chance to reach out to you and talk about college football things, serious and otherwise. This is probably otherwise, so let's head down to the mailroom. This question comes from Charles, and it's the old-fashioned way. 5-star mailbag gave us a 5-star review, and in that review, he put this question with the headline on the review, Spite. Charles writes, "Hi, fellas. Would like to hear your thoughts on this scenario. A group of donors is willing to donate the proceeds of their next tax cut. Let's say $10 million to their favorite athletic department. They are willing to donate to their favorite athletic department for the 2025 season. But unfortunately, their football team is starting a multi-year rebuild. So instead, these donors decide to spend their money sabotaging their biggest rival who has their best shot at a championship in decades. What would be the best way to spend the money to prevent their rival from winning the national championship? Do they sprinkle $1 million payments on 10 opponents? Do they focus on spending to improve a top few teams? Do they pay the refs? How do they do it? Charles.
I have so many nefarious ideas.
Yeah. So it's 10 million for 1 year, right?
10 million, 1 year, got to be spent. We're trying to do whatever it takes to prevent your biggest rival from winning.
And you cannot, can you pay the players on your rival to tank?
Potentially. I think that's one of your options.
Well, that's the best way to directly make sure they don't win the national title. Because for 10 million, you got some guys that are going to take some else. I guarantee you.
Well, I mean,
I might blank on the wrestler's name. Everybody's got a price. $1 Million Man, right?
$1 Million Man, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that that's not Biasi, is it?
Ted DiBiase.
Yes. Yeah. Right. So I think, to make this more interesting, we should get that out of the way, because that to me was the most obvious one. But it's not that fun.
Well, I don't know if you can. I know everybody's got a price. I think that $10 million, if you consider what some of the players on a national championship contender are making,
is it enough? I don't know if it's enough.
I don't think $10 million.
You do it too.
I don't think $10 million is enough to buy off the whole team.
It's enough to buy off the offensive line.
I just need to buy out the long snapper.
Yeah.
two special teams turnovers, and your ass.
Oh, you're gonna get your ass sitting on the sideline.
Yes, right. Bro, I'm gonna spend 3 minutes on the long snapper. I need two snaps to go over the guy's head. Assuming he's had a clean year, we're not gonna yank him for one bad snap in the natty. The time the second one sails over, special teams turnovers are the most debilitating types of turnovers. Boom, that's done. I'm gonna keep the other 7 for myself.
I thought 10 was a lot.
10,
I don't think you could do it for cheaper than that. I thought you could buy your rival all really nice, fast cars, and then just put them an hour from a major metropolitan city where there's great parties and strip clubs and stuff, and then you just hope they all got into speeding tickets. And
so, are you a Florida or Auburn fan?
Yeah, I was gonna say so Saban owns the Mercedes dealerships, right?
Yes, he does.
What coach owns all the Dodges?
Spoiler alert. Do you guys watch Yellowstone?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So in the last season, how much would it cost to have what happened to Kevin Costner in the first episode? How much does that cost? Because then you know how many guys can I take it out?
Oh man, So you're taking out the quarterback, the best defensive end, the best the best pass, the best top 10, probably $1 million a man. You get 10 of their players out.
Or maybe like a week or two before the season starts. Because coaches make $10 million a year. That's not you can't get the head coach. The coordinators don't make $10 million a year. What if I go to your offensive coordinator, your defensive coordinator, your strength coach, and offer them a whole hell of a lot of money to join my staff as an analyst? You don't have to do any recruiting. You can just hang strength coach. You'll be the assistant. I offer them basically 200% raises to come join my coaching staff just before the season starts.
See, you guys are being reckless. You guys are spending way too much money in one place. That's how you get.
I'm a college football booster. That's what I do.
What we do.
Fair. I think it's small. The margin for winning a national championship is so small that you can do this with like little chips along the way. Like it just takes the tiniest it takes a small payment to a manager to drop laxatives in those Gatorade bottles right before a college football playoff semifinal. Because if this really is my rival, and if I want them to truly feel pain, I want them to make it to the playoff. I want them to feel like they've got it within their grips. If something nefarious is going to happen, I want it to happen, I don't know, around the team hotel in one of the biggest playoff games of the year. I want it to be something that is so unsettling, it creates all kinds of disruption. So I think that like a simple purchase of one coach, purchase of one player, especially if it happens before the year, that's too much money to not create some sort of investigation and potentially get yourself caught. But a lot of very, very small negative impacts that I can do with $10 million to be able to derail my rival's chances to win, I kind of think that's got to be the play.
You're accusing us of being reckless when you're going to spend all this money just so you can get a couple screenshots of dudes pooping their pants.
No, I hadn't even thought about how hilarious that would be. Now I'm doubling down.
Gentlemen, I want to show you my top secret plan right here.
You pulling it up from your Nike Coach of the Year, like handout?
Code name asparagus. I'm gonna bring back the Jeremy Pruitt experience, put him with my rival, because you know what? That pretty much guarantees you ain't gonna win. Well, really anything, but definitely not a natty.
Yeah, is that the Connor Stallions manifesto that you've got right there?
Wait, do you really?
Let's see. Anything else that we hadn't talked? Oh, let me pull some. I grabbed some early. Here we go. Alex, hire multiple private investigators to just go watch their program and put together a dossier and spread it to the media.
Doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, it takes too
Nobody
long.
cares.
Yeah. 4 years later, they'll take away a win or two.
All right, Corey. Here's how I'm sabotaging. He's a Pitt fan. Here's how I'm sabotaging Penn State. I'm taking the $10 million Chip mentioned yesterday and paying off the AP voters to make Nevada and FIU top 5 teams.
That's an all-timer. That is
Yeah.
exceptionally well done.
I mean, look, if Nevada and FIU are top 5 teams, Penn State ain't beating them, So the AP voters declare them top 5 teams. That's a pretty good one. Jim, hack their helmet comms and rickroll the quarterback on crucial third down red zone plays. Yeah,
I was thinking you hire some hacker named Big Balls, and you have him come in and you hack into your opponent's iPads, playbooks, and you steal all their information, and then you use it and give it out to every single opponent on the schedule.
I mean, I think WikiLeaks happened for free. I don't remember
exactly. I think 10 million. I don't think you need 10 million.
Yeah, I think that giving away secrets about Wake Forest football team happened out of spite. Again, that was did not cost a whole lot. I guess the man who lost his job, once it was finally discovered. But that's another good one. Ooh, fake girlfriend.
Yeah, you could hire you could get like 50 fake girlfriends and have like the whole team catfished.
Catfish. Scandal.
How much is a Cavender twin? That was pretty good from Christopher in the chat.
Let's see. Deflate your rivals.
See the diss track? Or that wasn't a diss track. It's a diss sing along, like with the Cavender. She's singing along to a song that's about a dude who was cheating on her, and people were telling her, and like she's all done up, looking good, and like smiling, saying, you're a loot. Like, it's good. It was well done.
What was the put my key into the side of a picked up 4-wheel drive? Was it If He Cheats? Who sings that?
That would have been a great one.
Oh.
That would have been a great one. It was like a rap song. So it was
Okay.
like a rap. It was not a Carrie Underwood.
Carrie
classic.
Underwood.
That would have been epic, though, if she would have done that.
Put my key into
And then she could have
the
videoed
side.
herself right along the Lambo that got stolen. Like,
Oh my gosh.
Listen,
That
Like
video,
Ian backing
doesn't
up
she-
into the street.
yes. That video, I think Carrie Underwood like trashes an F-150 or something. She trashes a car. That would be good.
you guys are making fun of them. I'm praying for those two. That's young love. I hope it survives these trials and tribulations.
I'm not using my prayers there.
I think it's done. I think it's too late.
Yeah. What'd you Danny, I know you passed it along. What'd you make of Gunnar Stockton getting asked about Carson Beck? And if he found out when he found out Carson Beck was transferring to Miami.
I am telling you, and I don't think it's only Gunnar Stockton. I think there was no love lost for the whole entire team when Carson Beck said he was leaving. And even for that matter, when he didn't play and he got hurt. Like, I just think I don't want to be too mean.
Do it.
But I do think that quarterback room is going to be a lot less douchey.
Yeah.
But I did have the question: has a balding quarterback ever won a national championship? Because my man,
Yes, he has.
Brock Bowers need to go like see somebody. Who
I
was
mean-
the last balding? Who would you say? Who would qualify as
Chris
a balding?
Winkie.
Chris
I was
Winkie.
gonna say, but Winky's bald now. But was he balding? He was. Yeah, I guess he probably
was like
27.
He was like 45 at the time.
By the way, like that getting drafted pretty high up in baseball, investing your money in tech stocks around the .com boom, retiring from pro baseball and going to be a 26-year-old freshman in Tallahassee is probably not the worst college experience you could draw out. I'm just saying, like that,
And you don't have to worry about it all being aired out on Instagram at the time.
right?
Either.
Yes, before smartphones. Yeah,
I was gonna say the fact that Carson Beck had been allegedly screenshotted with all these times across all this Snapchat. Now we've got Gunnar Stockton who said he saw it on The Stuff. I mean, that's like Bill Belichick saying snap face.
Yes,
I mean, this is-
exactly.
he is
Wait.
aged. And I think this is great for Georgia football to be able to have somebody who just calls social media The Stuff. And he's just out there to play ball.
Love it. That's why his teammates love him. He's not.
Belichick
driving
has a
two cars.
Snapchat now, right?
No,
I'm
it-
sure,
it-
I'm sure what's her name's running it for.
Yeah,
him.
Yeah, like I mean, like you don't date a 25-year-old not have Snapchat, right?
Who's older?
Is
Belichick's
Snapchat a
girlfriend or
recruiting
Gunner's?
tool? Is Snapchat a recruiting tool? Or any social media, I guess you could. But
I mean,
feel
there's
like
a certain type of recruiting I feel people have done on Snapchat.
If it's gotten to the point, and I do know it has, that coaches are getting on Xbox Live as a recruiting tool to be able to communicate with players, then yeah, everything's fair game. Right?
yes.
Okay.
I found the I found the Winky photo
Of current or of like
of Florida State on picture day. So he
Yeah.
has no helmet on.
Oh, he was balding.
Yeah, like Bowden's got about as much of a hairline as he does.
It's true.
all right. Let's keep things moving here on the mailbag. You can get the Winky photo? No?
I put it in the private chat.
Okay.
I'm logging on the 24/7 StreamYard still, so I don't have access to our StreamYard
All right.
because I got to manage the storage. Put out fires.
All right. This question came in from the 5-star mailbag. When I was growing up, I really wanted to go to Stanford. I thought the combination of education and location was unbeatable. Then
Nerd.
I learned that no one really cares about football at Stanford. Timely, unfortunately. My question is, if you could create a school combining the elements of other schools to essentially create the greatest recruiting powerhouse in college football, what elements would you choose from? What elements would you choose from what schools? My idea was to use non-NIL things used in recruiting pitches like education, the location of the school or the campus, the team history or the culture, uniforms, and stadium. For example, I think a recruiting pitch that included Stanford education, Stanford campus, Alabama's team history, Michigan's uniform, and would have the chance to play in Tiger Stadium would be an impossible offer to turn down.
This is a fun one.
This is a good one. It's more a traditional, old school, like what's the best setup you could possibly have.
Right.
Mixing and matching.
Right.
Facilities. Do you go Oregon? I mean, everybody has them. Is there one that stands above all the rest?
Thing. I don't know if it's like
Oregon's pretty sick still. I would think.
Yeah.
Texas redid theirs, which is pretty nice. That doesn't count stadium, right? Like facilities is different than
I'm thinking locker room,
Because stadium, I probably tie also into the idea of culture, like stadium culture, game day environment,
game day atmosphere.
Yeah.
Is that LSU?
That's LSU.
Yeah, probably. I think so.
Yeah.
Nice.
Where do you pull the fans from? Like, do you go
Arizona State?
Yeah, you think that's the best fan base?
I think like South Carolina or Nebraska. Like those people show up and root no matter what.
Yeah, but what do they look like?
I'm not. Yeah,
me and Tom are thinking the same page. We're on the same level, Tom.
We want Arizona State fans.
Arizona State, yes. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, agreed.
Education
weather.
Wise,
What about you? Might go Arizona State for the weather, or maybe USC for the weather. Like if you could pull in the weather of a game day sky with the Pasadena weather and the mountains in the background.
I like UCLA better than USC for weather, man.
For the Rose Bowl,
just from where it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, like in Los Angeles, you would rather be in Westwood than
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a better neighborhood.
Wouldn't you?
UCLA campus / weather.
Yeah.
So right now I've got Oregon facilities, LSU stadium and game day environment, UCLA campus / weather.
Education. Which school has the best general studies program?
You've got to
used to be Marshall because I could get like anybody in the country in. Like Liam just got accepted. But now I think they've changed some of that stuff. Shadow booster support. Bama under Saban, right? For sure. Or we call it booster support.
Or the infrastructure.
Outside of NIL.
The infrastructure of the entire banking industry in the state of Alabama funding a football program.
Yeah.
All right. So booster support. I think you have to go Alabama. Okay.
Yeah.
Alabama boosters. Because
what about the most supportive fans? Like if there was a culture that was the most positive, upbeat, is there one? Does it even exist?
Nebraska.
Yeah, that's Nebraska South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Showing up no matter what. Like the reason why those fans trash us is because we don't see it clearly enough about how good things are going to be. You know?
Yes.
Iowa would be another good nomination here.
Yeah. I'd still lean Nebraska.
Clemson
Iowa
fans
can get a bit salty.
Clemson fans are just in the press box.
Damn.
In the orange overalls.
Yeah. All right. What about, let's see, what else was in there? So we got facilities, game day, campus / weather, boosters, fans.
Recruiting location.
It's like, where do you want to be to recruit?
I think Atlanta.
Atlanta's pretty good.
Atlanta.
Yeah. Like I used to say Miami, but like the state of Georgia pays so much more. Like if you're a good high school coach in Florida, there's a real good chance you're leaving for Georgia in short order. Like they just pay a lot more for public high schools in Georgia than they do Florida.
Explain that.
So like the Georgia teachers get paid more than the Florida teachers, and the good high school coaches in Georgia get paid way more than our good high school coaches down here.
Oh,
Like enough to where if you get an offer, like you're moving your family, like
the quality of teaching, quality of coaching, sort of like across the board, like high school football, what you're going to be getting is a little bit different.
Completely. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause then at all the private schools down in South Florida, it's like 2 schools down there. There's like players that are FBS prospects, and they are existing in classes and in parts of the campus that are totally different from everybody else that's there.
You also don't have quite as much of the insanity as far as transfers in Georgia as you do in Florida. Florida, you can play like 7 different high schools in 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to think from the question. Is there anything else that we were missing here? We've got Oregon facilities, LSU stadium, UCLA campus/weather, Alabama boosters, Nebraska fans, Atlanta recruiting.
I'll submit the ideal coach and the coach that I played for.
Bobby Bowden?
Give me Bobby Bowden as the head recruiter.
Ooh.
Nice.
No
Bobby Bowden with Saban's bags. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, now we're starting to Bobby Bowden.
These Spurs don't have a stroke.
Yeah, Bobby Bowden with best uniforms.
Ooh. This will be conflicting because Tom's going to want boring, or he's going to want 100-year throwbacks that are disgusting.
Sorry, we had the best alternate uniform of the year according to voters.
What voters? I saw that poll.
Damn right you did. It kept you up at night because you realized how wrong you were. I like basic uniforms, so this is very subjective.
Colors.
I like Texas all white. Like the Texas Stormtrooper look is really nice. Like that's clean.
So we're all not and going in with the Oregon 87.
No, God,
No.
Refer back to the beginning of the show. 40-year-old dudes celebrating opening day. We're probably not going to be all in on Oregon's uniforms.
It's true.
Yeah, and definitely not baby blue.
It's too soft.
Too soft.
Too soft.
We need a red. We need a crimson. We need something. We need something that really inspires so the bloodthirstiness coming out.
When Ed Ogeron, he was the one who said Sissy Blue, right? Was it Ed Ogeron when he was at LSU? So I bought a T-shirt online that says Sissy Blue, and my daughter still wears it to this day. She'll like wear it to school, like wear it around. But I don't even think she knows what it means. But she likes the way it fits, I guess. I don't know.
USC's uniforms are pretty good.
Yeah.
Especially with the black cleats like Reggie wore.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Those are clean.
I like that. All right. I think we got, let's just team history, culture. Who's got the best team history, like program history? Who swings
Notre
them?
Dame, Michigan.
Ooh.
Yeah.
One of those. I mean, they've been around forever.
Somebody around like pre-radio times is probably going to take this.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody, because the thing that has made both Michigan and Notre Dame a little bit more valuable is the fact that they don't just have to point to pre-radio success, that they can also look at all these other things. Michigan winning a national championship, Notre Dame playing for a national championship multiple times in the last 25 years. Like this is something that can connect. It's not, I mean, I'm not trying to send astray here, but Minnesota's got 3 national championships. I think they're all from before World War II.
They are.
Yeah. Like you've got that be able to connect all the way. All right. So our Frankenstein recruiting monster has Oregon's facilities, LSU's stadium/game day, UCLA's campus and weather, Alabama's boosters, Nebraska's fans, Atlanta recruiting area, Bobby Bowden as a head coach, and the program history of Notre Dame and Michigan.
And Arizona State student body.
Boys, I don't know if we're ever going to lose.
No.
Ever.
Just hope we don't get sabotaged by our $10 million bitter, spiteful rival.
Of which there are many.
Yes.
All right. Coming up on the other side, if you could go pro in any sport, what would it be? What position? And more. Next.
I feel home when I see the faces that remember my own. When I'm with my friends, I feel home.
Back here on the Cover 3 podcast. Your questions, our answers. It is a Thursday here on the Cover 3 podcast. This question came in about 2 weeks ago from Steven. Steven says, not exactly a football question, but if you could go pro in any sport, what would it be and what position? I would be a major league center fielder over anything else. From Steven, go Noles and go Tigers.
Golf. Yeah. Because think about it. Like if you play baseball, football, basketball, whatever, your career is going to end in your 30s. Golf, you can play on a senior tour or whatever they're calling it now until you're 60, 70. You can play it your entire life and you'll make a bunch of money doing it.
I don't know, man. I don't need to spend that much time with myself. I need teammates. I need, like, if we're talking about going pro and something I'm doing, I can play golf, right? I could be a baseball player and play golf. I could be, I would not be a backup quarterback. I've always said backup quarterback's the best football position.
Yes.
Yeah.
Relief pitcher.
No, those guys' careers are so short.
Yeah. Very
and
volatile.
They very rarely get like the big contracts.
Okay.
Starting pitcher, I feel like, is
Then you
pretty
play
good
golf.
gig.
Most of
They
those
can
guys
play a
are
lot
pretty
of
good
golf.
golfers.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't have to worry if they're bad at golf that day. Like, I mean,
So it's fun. I remember actually like thinking about this when I was a kid, like dreaming about, like, kind of picturing what it would be like for if you want to have like a normal life, like the closest thing. And I was, thinking about like family, like how to have like, be a good dad, whatever. Football's the way to go. You don't travel no question.
Routine.
Yeah. Week routine, 9 to 5 during the week. Sure. It gets a little bit longer, but you only travel 8 or 9 times a year. You're playing at home. You only have 17 games. It's most realistic. From a fun, like money, all of it, let me be a 3-point specialist in the NBA. You don't even have to play all 82. Just you need some rest. You need a night off. Sure. You need a night off. Go ahead and take it. But you travel to major cities. The treatment's incredible. Guaranteed money. It's the most fun sport to play. You get a lot of recognition because you're not under a helmet. The golf would be hard because you're traveling globally, and you're traveling globally. That gets a little bit. Trust me, I love golf. I would give it a shot if I could, but I do think it'd be a hard sport. Like I remember they don't have them, and that's been a whole.
So I get to be a millionaire and travel the world. Wow, that sounds freaking awful. And I have to play golf in between. Damn, you're right. This is terrible.
But you got to do practice rounds and pro-ams with a bunch of schleps and like play with the fans. Like you never see an NBA guy have to play a little 5-on-5 game with 4 other hacks that are out there. Hey, what do you think? Can you help me with my jump shot? Like you don't have to do all that.
Just
all good options.
Yeah.
I took both boys golfing yesterday. And it was slammed. It was like 60 guys in the 9-hole men's game. Because initially it was just going to be just Liam. And then he's like, I don't want to go. I'm like, okay. So you got to do the thing where like you make him jealous. I'm like, all right, Hudson, you get to go. He's like, yes. And so Liam's like, wait, no, I'm going to go. I was like, okay. Now we did not play the men's game. We just played the back because like I can't take them with their 60 guys on the front of the course. Like that's,
it's a 5-hour round.
Did you stay for the greatest college baseball moment of the past decade and maybe longer? Because I saw you were at the Florida State-Florida game.
Yeah,
you were there for the walk-off grand slam for the cycle. Insane.
The pitch clock makes it so that you can stay. Like the games are not that long anymore. Even an 8-4 game doesn't take forever in college.
So they've put the clock in college now too?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. That's a great stadium. I had never been there. The seating is relatively affordable, and like there's grass like benches, and then there's like a big berm, and so like Huddy and Liam just like rolled down a bunch of times. They fought each other. Like Huddy tried to jump into left field one time. That was I had to kind of yank him. But
which stadium was that? Who's in Was it North Florida or was it like a minor league stadium?
No, it's the Jumbo Shrimp. I think it's their minor league team. It's pretty cool. It's right next to whatever the Jaguar Stadium's called. Like parking was free, and it was actually pretty nice. Like they did it well.
Nice. We gotten a lot of good questions from the big old bag of mail. Again, you can always reach out there. I want to make sure we give some love to the tailgate, especially those who came early. Coach K 33 jumped in at 10 a.m. said, who is the quote worst quarterback to win a title in the last 25 years?
All right, let's pick out. Go to Wikipedia on this one. That's 25.
I mean, let's see. So we're going back to 2000.
I thought one of the more impressive national titles was Bama winning with Jake Coker. I don't want to throw him under the bus, but
Craig Krenzel?
Could be Krenzel.
That was the one that immediately just like off the dome.
Was Matt Flynn LSU's QB in 2003?
That was my boy Matt Mock, wasn't it?
Did Flynn ever win one? I can't remember.
Flynn was the 07 team.
Okay. I think he's in the running. No offense. It's like
Jason White.
Oh,
He won
Ryan
the
Parallel is
Heisman,
also
though.
in there.
He did win the Heisman. T. Martin?
That's 27 years ago, though.
Okay. Yeah, we're old, but like
We'll have to get your boy.
I mean, he only won because Chris Winkie broke his neck. Like that was what they had, like a pick six, another long interception return in that ball game, and did nothing on offense except for like one peerless prize catch and run. So, not that I'm bitter, but
you think? Okay, so
Tim Tebow.
Oh, shots fired.
I think Flynn's a good. We'll have to get Danny. We'll have to get Jacob Hester's, final call on this. But Flynn was the offensive MVP of the national championship game that year. But during the season, he was getting swapped out for Ryan Parallel.
Mm-hmm.
He earned 0 all-conference honors the rest of the way. That was a team that was mostly anchored by Glenn Dorsey in a phenomenal defense, pretty good running game as well. Jacob Coker and that offense, because you remember who Coker's coordinator was. It was Lane.
Yeah.
That was the first.
Second year. I think Lane was with Blake Sims the year before. And then I think Lane was also there with Coker. And he would scheme up the bombs, right? Remember throwing the play card up in the air when you could see it at the bottom of the screen because he knew that it was going to be a touchdown. I think it might be Flynn.
I mean, Cardale had like a really good 2-game run, but I don't think he was like in the top half of players on that Ohio State team.
But he wasn't compared to the other.
I think he's better than those guys. Yeah.
Compared to the other national championship winning quarterbacks, I think he gets an edge there.
I would say Matt Mock is Matt Mock's a pretty bad one here. I mean, he had a 28-14 touchdown interception ratio despite throwing for 64%. So that's doing some stuff. Yards per attempt under 8. How bad was
my guy? I think I already threw him under the bus in here one time. I'm not going to do it again. Dr. Matt Mock, by the way.
Craig Krenzel.
He's a dentist currently. We were on the Broncos together. Remember I told you he lit it up in training camp and practice, and the coaches were like blown away. I thought I was going to get cut because they liked him so much. But
Craig Krenzel. I think that's the one.
Okay, all right. What's his stat line?
You're getting stats.
So we got a solid 55% completions, 15-10 touchdown interception ratio, rushing yards not really, and then we have a 7.3 yards per attempt and egregious 6.8 adjusted net yards per attempt. So that really speaks to how good that defense was for Ohio State and how shameful it was for Miami to lose to that team. Because, I mean, I know Ohio State has some good players, but
listen, Krenzel was awesome at handing the ball off to Maurice Claret that season. He was fantastic at putting the ball just where it needed to go into the freshman's belly so that he could get off and go.
Wait,
by the way, the Seattle Seahawks paid Matt Flynn $8 million or something crazy.
And pretty much based off of that one game.
Yeah.
Was that the 02 season?
What? Which one? For Mock?
Yeah.
Malk would have been the 03 season.
Yeah, so I read off the better stat line for Kirk Krenzel. It gets worse in the year they actually won the national title.
No, 02. Krenzel is the 02 season.
Yeah, so I read off the 03 on accident, but here's actually the 02 from like the year that he actually won it. So we posted a nice 12-7 touchdown interception ratio.
Listen,
12-7.
That's less of both.
It's less of both. How many yards per game through the air?
184, I'm guessing.
A little bit less.
Yeah, that was an Eddie George team, I believe, or not Eddie George, but it was a running team.
Chip can bench press this guy's yards per game. I'm extremely confident.
350?
Yeah, geez. I mean, the gun shows here.
150 and a half.
Oh yeah, I got that.
Kanell sitting here like, bro, I beat every single one of these numbers.
just need to be able to bench your weight. 150 and a half. I got that.
Matt Flynn in 2007, 56.3% completion rate, 21 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 6.7 per attempt. Not terrible, but yeah.
All right, one last one. This is way off the beaten path, but we're here at closing in at the top of the hour, and since Bud was bringing up the baseball game, we might have some help for our guy. Nathan, need dad advice. My wife has made the terrible decision to leave me alone with our 2-year-old girl for the weekend. How do I survive, preferably with child in one piece and sanity relatively intact?
Danny,
That's a good one.
3
I remember these days. I actually loved it. Now you got to sync up the nap schedule because you're both going to need naps, both of you guys. Try to get her to bed, reasonable hour, because then you can have some alone time, watch some basketball this weekend. So you got to make sure she goes to bed around 7. And if she's crying, just let her cry. They'll eventually stop. You don't have to go check on them. They'll eventually stop. They'll get the picture sooner or
when
later.
They're like 24.
Yeah. And then I would say there is no harm in asking for help. So if you have a close relative, an in-law, something, just a little help is always a little help goes a long way.
Or a play date. If there's like another friend who's got
another dad that wants to watch basketball too, that could get dicey though.
This is maybe a little bit more on the sanity side of things. I go into a situation like that and I think about it like activity periods, and it's normally based around naps and meals. And so I've got like one goal or one one thing, because when you're dealing with a child this young, it's going to take a while to lead up to the thing. And then after the thing is done, it's going to take a while to decompress and transition into the next thing. So if you approach the weekend with like a morning, an afternoon, and then like Danny, like you said, and then after bedtime, have a little space for yourself. And then you wake up the next day, have a morning, have an afternoon, then a little time for yourself. Yeah, you just basically have to plan 3 or 4 activities. And if you go into it with a little goal in mind, then you'll have a blast the whole way.
And don't get frustrated if the activities don't go right, or like
100%.
Because they're not gonna be disappointed. They don't know.
Right. And the hard thing is
but they'll sense if you get frustrated.
The hard thing is too, you got to be careful with the sugar intake. Because I know that was the thing. When mom's away, it was like, all right, we're going to go get pancakes with lots of, and just let them just coat the thing in maple syrup. And then we're going to get ice cream after dinner. That could be a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Because when mom eats healthy, they are a little better behaved. But when they have a little sugar in them, that does kind of set things ablaze sometimes.
Dude, Hudson yesterday. So I talked about taking the golf thing. He's like, Dad, do you remember the girl? I was like, where's this going? And he's like, who has the Cheetos and the Kit Kats? I was like,
Cart girl?
I was like, who? And he's like, and Powerade, and she drives the golf cart. And I was like, oh, the cart girl. He's like, the cart girl.
Oh,
yes, bro.
Hard eyes.
Like, let's go. Yeah, dude. 100%.
Hey, you're not the first bro to fall in love with the cart girl.
That's right.
Exactly.
Won't be the last.
Won't be the last either. Enjoy it more than anything. It's it'll be a good time, and I'm sure that your 2-year-old daughter will have a great one. All right.
If she doesn't, just put her in the crate and close the door for a few hours.
Yeah, that's right.
It works the same with kids as dogs.
We will be back on Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern time, as we start to pivot into a month where we will start to get much more in terms of spring football. We'll get more in terms of starting to see what these teams are starting to look like. And we look forward to continuing the conversation all around college football here on the Cover 3 podcast. And you can follow him on Twitter at Tom Fornelli. You can follow him at Bud Elliott 3. You can follow him at Danny Kanell. Follow me at Chip_Patterson. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Play ball.
See ya.